thanks for joining us tonight. This is Maria's Kitchen. I'm Maria.
And I'm Will. We call it Maria's Kitchen because mine's outside.
So tonight we're going to be making some chicken parm, a little bruschetta, and some Caesar salad. Will's going to be in charge of the chicken parm. I'm doing the bruschetta, so stay tuned and enjoy.
Obviously we gotta use a little bit of chicken. This is what we're using to bread it. Just some flour, some saltine crackers, premium kind, so you know they're good. An egg. This stuff here, it's the best stuff I've ever used for chicken or pork. You can get it at Lowe's. We're not getting paid for advertising, but if you want some good stuff for your chicken or pork, that's the stuff. Rub some chicken. They also make a barbecue called Rub Some Butt. Then we got mozzarella cheese. We use spaghetti sauce right out of the jar. You can use whatever you want. I don't care. This is a new kind that we're doing. I've made my own sauce, and I think it sucks. But if you got your own, grandma's giving you a recipe for some sauce and you want to use it, by all means use it. And then tools. We have a meat tenderizer, a decent knife, cutting board, food processor, and some bowls. So let's get started. This came off of the largest chicken in the world. I mean, this thing is huge, which is good because we're only making 2 portions and it will suffice just one piece. So cut off all the extra fat and stuff. I think we're going to make some for our puppers, so we might save that little piece for him. That'll work out perfect. Just get the extra fat. You don't want to bite into this awesome tender chicken meal and have a bunch of gristle and fat. So cut that piece off right there. We want to try to get it as uniform as we can so that it cooks evenly. And be real careful that you don't cut your arm off or your hand off. Or if you got a good knife, you should be alright. Remember, only dangerous knife is a dull one. But yeah, I think those will work pretty good. So set that down. If you've got, and most people do, if you've got some saran wrap, it makes it a lot easier. Plastic wrap, sorry. This will keep chicken from splattering all over your wife's stuff, table, things she might have on the table, and that'll keep you from getting yelled at for you dudes out there. But you want to beat this from the outside or from the inside out, so it's kind of remember, that's gonna poof up when you cook it. So you don't really want it too thick. If it is too thick, another problem you're going to have is you're going to end up burning your breading before your chicken gets cooked all the way, and as Alton Brown says, that is not good eats. So about like that. That looks pretty good. I'll set this on the foil or on the plastic wrap so that it doesn't get countertop dirty, and we're going to grab that other piece, beat it out. Okay, so now we are going to make our breading, get it all set up. You want to have an assembly line. What I've got is a bowl with about a tablespoon of water. You want to crack an egg in that. Let's get that beat up in that water. This is what you call an egg wash, I think. Get a little bit of flour. We don't need much since our portions are kind of, it's just 2 of us eating here. And I like to season my flour because I think that's where you really get the good flavor from. And again, magic dust. I usually put too much in, but nobody's ever really said it tastes terrible, so use as much as you want. I usually make my flour a little bit green. Just incorporate that together. And then, like I said, we use saltine crackers. I use like a Ritz or buttery cracker, and it's good, but it kind of gives a touch of sweetness, and I don't like that. To me, I want all savory with my chicken parm. Do what you want. If you want to try that buttery crust, that's fine. These work really well with like tenderloin sandwiches, or if you wanted to turn this into a sandwich, you do the exact same thing, only you're not going to melt cheese over the top of it and put it in sauce, unless that's how you want to make your sandwich. If you don't have a food processor, you can do what I used to do before I got this. The reason why I got this was just for this dish. You can put them in gallon freezer bags and beat the piss out of them until you get them to the right consistency. But I promise you, it will take longer than that. I'm going to hit this a couple more times. That's perfect. Another trick is make sure you take this out before you dump it. Otherwise, that will end up in the bowl. And if it goes in the bowl, that's fine. Don't try to grab it or you'll cut yourself. I know that from experience. Dump that in the bowl there. Get that out of your way. And we're going to have an assembly line. If you're making more than one, this is paramount. So we got our chicken, we've got our flour, we got a little bit of egg. We're going to coat the chicken in flour, get the wet side just nice and kind of dry so that the egg will stick, and the egg will make this stick, and then you'll be ready. Another trick I've learned, use one hand for the wet, one hand for the dry, and it'll keep you from getting club hand. If you've ever had club hand, you know what that's like. It sucks. So that's about all we're looking for. Just get it coated. Make sure you get all the excess off. Dip it in the egg. Get both sides wet. Let as much of that drip off as you can without taking forever. If you've got some dry spots on there, just kind of wipe some more of that egg wash on it. If you didn't get everything coated just right. These are going to be huge. And one down. Remember to shake the excess off. Switch hands. They've already started to get a little club hand. I'm kind of screwed up a little bit, but it's alright. Cooking should be fun. When it ain't, you eat hamburger helper. All I'm trying to do is just get the edges coated a little bit so that I got a place to grab onto and not soak my non-wet hand. And cooking is you know, there's a lot of science to it, but it doesn't have to be perfect. You know, you are the artist, so make it however you want. And if people don't like it, don't invite them back. All right, 2 down. So anytime that you're dealing with hot oil, just be careful. I use a pair of tongs to lay this in. You want to lay it in nice and slow so it doesn't stick to the bottom. Your oil's good and hot, and you want it to be about 350, 375. Let that thing just to smolder in there until it's about as brown as good as you want it. The chicken's pretty thin, so it should cook just fine. We're going to put some sauce on it, and we're going to have cheese, so if you get it a little bit dry, that's okay. You didn't ruin it. But I can't give you a time. Chefs will tell you that you need to use a thermometer to check the internal temperature. I go by look. If you're concerned about it, you could cut one in half and feed it to your dog and get an idea how long it takes to cook one. That is going to be very good. Something else that you want to do is make sure that you've got a paper towel down. I've seen if you flip a cooling rack upside down and lay it on the paper towel, that's probably the best way to get any grease. And I'm just throwing it on a cheap pizza pan we've had since 1962. But again, see how that's just cooking. It'll start to float. What you got going on is you got hot oil trying to penetrate the meat, and you got moisture that's pushing outward, and that keeps the grease from getting into your wonderful chicken. So for you people who are anti-grease, if you cook with oil right, it's really not as bad as what everybody seems to make it out. And this is real time. It only takes about 5 minutes or so to cook it. You can see it's starting to turn brown. And that looks about good. It's kind of balled up a little bit, but that's alright. Get the excess grease off, or oil on, sorry. Doesn't normally flip up like that. I don't know what happened, but get the other one in there. Something that just noticed, we have a deep fryer, and when that little light is green, it'll let you know that it's at the temperature you selected. Like I said, right now I've got it at 375. That's about right. Just stick that back down in there. And just be gentle with it. Flip it to away from you so you don't splatter any grease in your eye. Okay. There's the second one, and I forgot to tell you, it's important to salt that stuff and season it with whatever it is you're going to season as it's coming out, because once it starts to cool down, that salt is not going to stick. But there's your 2 good looking pieces of chicken. Now we will go back to Maria.
Hey guys, thanks for hanging in there. Hope you've enjoyed watching Will making the chicken parmesan. It looks fabulous so far. So now comes me. I'm going to show you how to make a little classic easy bruschetta at home. It's one of the #1 things that's ordered at Italian restaurants. So here we go. We got our French bread, cut at about a 1/2 inch thick each, depending on how many you plan on serving. I like bread. I'll eat the whole thing, no problem. Then we've got a little bit of balsamic vinegar for a little zesty taste. Some olive oil, extra virgin. Minced garlic, you can have fresh. I bought this. I'm cheap. Salt, pepper, some finely shredded Parmesan cheese. Most important thing is your Roma tomatoes. The recipe called for 7 to 8. I have about 5 chopped up here. It's just me and Will eating tonight, so I don't know that I'm even going to use all of this. But that is your classic easy bruschetta recipe. Extra virgin olive oil, 1/4 cup. Minced garlic, about a 1½ teaspoon. Roma tomatoes, 7 to 8, depending on how many you plan on serving. Some balsamic vinegar, 1 tablespoon. Some salt, about 3/4 teaspoon. A little bit of black pepper, 1/2 teaspoon. Your French bread, slice it about a 1/2 inch thick. And then some freshly Parmesan cheese. So first to start off, we're going to heat up the olive oil, just a medium or small saucepan, doesn't matter, with the 1½ teaspoon of garlic.
She bought that new jar today. We got one in the fridge.
This one I thought looked better. And you're going to heat that for about a minute. Keep an eye on it. You don't want it to brown and you don't want it to burn. You just want it heated. Okay. And I don't know about you guys, but I picked bruschetta for number 1 because I really like it. And number 2, I really like bread. So it goes together well for me. And I thought this meal would come together well with the chicken parmesan and the bruschetta and the Caesar salad. I'm a big Italian fan, so I love that kind of food. And plus the kids aren't here, so that helps too. So just keep a close eye on it. Like I said, you just want to brown it.
If y'all don't have kids, you should have kids, and then you can experience the joy of leaving them somewhere. And if our kids watch this, we love you. Sometimes we love to leave you. I got my sauce going. I can't call it mine, but I'd like to thank the people who sold it on sale today.
And like I said, this is just going to go for about a minute because you don't want to burn it. Just want to kind of get those flavors mixed together. The garlic and the oil. We're going to pull that off. You can smell that. It smells wonderful. I'm going to take it over here. And I'm going to pour all of this into the bowl. You're going to want to let it cool for a little bit before you add all the other ingredients in there. So while that's cooling, we're going to go ahead and mix the other ingredients into the tomatoes that I've already cut up for you. So we have about a tablespoon of the balsamic vinegar. I can find my measuring spoons. I'm not sure where they went to.
I think you put them over there.
They're not on. So, we have a tablespoon of this. Which I... About 3/4 tablespoon of salt. And a 1/2 teaspoon, I'm going to here, of pepper. Just going to take my spoon and kind of mix that around with the flavors going in there. This is really easy stuff that you could prep ahead before dinner. Bruschetta is actually probably the last thing that you want to make before the meal. You want to serve it right as it's ready. So you don't want to do it too far ahead. You know, with bread it gets cold. Go ahead and we're going to add in some of the Parmesan cheese. I'm not going to really measure. I like cheese. It says about 1/4 of a cup. It's probably add more, but that's okay. Now the recipe does call for basil. Unfortunately, with the COVID thing going on right now, and I really do hate to mention this during the cooking show, but it is our likelihood at this point. There was none to be found at the store. I looked and I looked. I even asked. There was no basil. So unfortunately, we were basil. Okay, so we got the tomatoes, the cheese, the salt and pepper, the vinegar, all that mixed together. This is still cooling here, which is we got the garlic and the oil. I'm going to come over here to the oven, and I had preheated to 400. Now when I get ready to put the bread in the oven, I'm going to switch this over to broil. You're going to broil for about 1 minute, take it out, flip it, 1 minute on the other side. Keep a very watchful eye because broiling will burn the bread fast. You don't want it burnt. You want it lightly toasted. So I'm going to get a pan out, get that ready, and we'll get ready to mix everything when Will's ready for this chicken parm. So now it's time. We're going to go ahead and put the bread in the oven. We're going to toast it, and like I said, we're going to put it on broil.
While she tries to figure out, you got to hit cancel.
Oh my gosh.
Hit cancel. There you go.
I am so sorry for some reason.
This is not the magic of TV.
Anyways, you want to broil that for about a minute, but keep a watchful eye, like I said. So, and then we'll flip it and do 1 more minute. And then while I'm assembling it and getting it all ready, Will's going to come back with the chicken parmesan.
All I got to do is melt the cheese, and we need the broiler to do that. So I'm going to wait till she gets her bread toasted. We'll throw some cheese on that, stick it in the oven, get that cheese ooey gooey melted, and then we'll be just about ready to plate.
Yeah.
We're probably not going to show you how to make a salad. That's a whole nother show. So you look for that one. It'll be here. I promise.
So, got our toasted bread. Just pulled out of the oven. I'm going to take it over here. Be careful, it is warm. Very toasty. Alright, let's head over here. We've got our mixture. I went ahead and the garlic and the olive oil had cooled, so you're going to want to add that to the tomatoes and the cheese mixture that you already had. And I'm going to go ahead and start topping the bread with that while Will gets ready and does his parm.
Alright, this mozzarella cheese came from somewhere, probably New York City. That's alright. You know it's good. Just put it on there, liberal. This is not fancy smancy cheese. There's nothing fancy smancy about this meal. However, if you get people to believe that there is, then more power to you. This is the same baking sheet Maria was using just a little bit ago, and it is hotter than Haiti. I know because I just grabbed it. Throw it in there and let her melt. I'm going to stick it on the bottom so it doesn't burn. Give it about 5 minutes or so, and it should be delicious. Meanwhile, we still have that heating up. And with some camera trickery, that took about 2 seconds. But look at that. That is going to be good, I promise you. So let's plate them.
Alright, so now it's time just to put the bruschetta together. You're going to take your toasted French loaf here, your bruschetta mixture. I'm just going to put it on top. Like I said, you're going to want to serve this right away. The bread's still nice and warm. Nice and toasted. I love bread. It's my favorite.
So does the puppers.
Oh, Harley, I don't know that you'll eat this.
I'm pretty sure you won't.
Oh. A little bit of Caesar salad. The salad was made ahead of time, nothing fancy. We learned how to make homemade Caesar salad the other night. That's a whole different story. A lot more work to it than I thought. All right, and there's that. And now we're going to get ready to
She's crazy.
place the parm.
Pretty simple. This is how we do it. Put that right on there. If you want a little extra sauce, have at it. But there you go. Now you eat it.
Harley's looking for his. Got you in the shot, Harley.
Kind of forgot you, buddy. My bad. And there you go. Easy peasy, folks. If you have any questions, contact the Food Network, because we ain't home. So, cooking should be fun. Don't be afraid to play with your food. I know that's what we've not been told. I don't know if you can see me in the shot or not. I hope so. Yeah. Here we got a little bit of music, some candlelight, and some good vittles. Catch you next time.